People are getting real mad about it, yeah.
Yeah, it's for recycling, if anyone doesn't know. It's like people keep leaving bottles on the floor or bottle tops. If we stop them from doing that, the odds of people leaving it on the floor are a bit lower. And it's really annoyed people like, well, now I can't drink out of my bottle. It's like, are you a baby? Babies learn how to do this. It's literally one of the first skills a baby will learn.
I mean, honestly, there isn't much of a way I can turn up the volume on the fly, because, like, if I turn us up much more, we're both in the yellow at the moment, and, like, if I turn it up volume-wise, that means we're both just going to be, like, peaking.
We're actually live, because I can't see the video yet.
We should be live.
I can't even see myself.
Yeah, we are live, yeah.
Oh, right. I can't see myself on the live view, so I just thought we were just chatting. I thought we were just chatting some nonsense before like we were properly live. So I guess hello and welcome to another episode of the Wiki Weekdays podcast. I am your host for this episode, Karl Smallwood, joined as ever by the lovely and luscious Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
And for anyone unfamiliar with the Wiki Weekends on Wiki Weekdays format, because Wiki Weekdays is the podcast, Wiki Weekends is the video was video on a weekend, even though this is a video. Lucas, I'm floundering.
He's already going.
I can't bring up the YouTube video. It keeps saying something went wrong.
Oh, no. I mean, hopefully people in chat can see us. Like,
maybe it's just my computer's playing. You know what?
I am on the back end version where, like, it's giving me the stream preview. It's saying that we are live. Okay,
in which case, then, I will trust you, Lucas, as I trust you with many things in
chat can see us. Chat can see us. It's okay.
The Wiki Weekdays podcast is a series where myself and Lucas Holland, my co-host, go and scour the lengths and breadths of the internet to find a topic we'd like to discuss, specifically a wiki. We bring it forward and present it to the other, and hopefully it inspires at least some sort of a discussion. And then we invite you, our audience at home or watching live right now, to decide which wiki won this week. And last week it was Ghostface. What's wrong?
Just checking. I'm checking.
Checking what?
Checking which.
I know which wiki one I checked.
Oh, you checked? Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Last week it was Ghost. I said that and you went. I was like, is everything all right?
Well, no, you might have remembered the topics, but
I remember which one. It was Ghostface, presented by yours truly, and Xbox 360, presented by Lucas. And the winner was me with Ghostface. People like those ghosts, Lucas. People like spooky man with a knife.
Both the ghosts and the faces.
Yes, like a spooky man with a knife won. So congratulations to me. I win 1 million internet points this week. But that's not the only gimmick we have. We also have on screen right now, I can't see it, but hopefully the audience can. And that is Coco and Daisy. And they are the winners of our weekly competition. Oh God, my camera's done it.
Oh no.
I told you it'd freeze in the most unflattering position, right?
Yeah.
I told you that would happen.
But, you know, what's important, Karl, while you sort that out, is that people still can see Coco and Daisy. And funnily enough, it was a tie this week. And it was a tie of Coco and Daisy and just Daisy. So I was like, well, if it's got Daisy in both pictures, we might as well give Coco some credit as well.
The thing is that I feel so bad for the other pet in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you only won because you're with the other one.
Yeah, like Daisy contributed way more points towards it.
It's like, Coco, you're only here because Daisy won. You are here because of your proxy. It's like when you get invited to a party or something, isn't it? Mm. But they invite your friend and you get to go along because you're like the +1.
Yeah, Coco is the +1 right now.
Which real sucks. But yeah, congratulations to Coco and Daisy. They're pets of the week. So if you would like to submit your pets or pets for next week's episode, you can do so by going down to our Discord below and just submitting pictures you've got of your pets. The stupider the better. The funnier the story, the better. The more blurry and in motion your pet is when the photo is taken, the better.
And
so they're my favourite photos are the ones of like cats or dogs where they're like in motion.
Yeah. I am just wondering as well, like, let us know kind of feedback wise in the comments to this video or even on our Discord. But I have seen some people, like, you know, kind of maybe either have troubles posting a picture on the Discord or something, or maybe like having troubles like linking their Patreon account to their Discord account and things like that. And I understand it's not the most feasible way of doing it, but it's like because it's linked through our Patreon. So maybe just like obviously it's only $1 tier to submit for Pet of the Week, but if you have any idea of like a way we could do it where it doesn't necessarily need to be like through the Discord, and you could submit them to like, I don't know, like a Google Doc or something, and I could post them all on the Discord that way. If you don't want to specifically link your Discord to your Patreon, you just want to submit through the Patreon directly, maybe we can figure out a way to do that.
Yes, if people are interested. And speaking of Patreon, Lucas, you've had a busy week, haven't you?
Oh. Well, it
So
was a
before-
busy like realization a couple of days ago that like today I've realized how busy I'm going to be because of it.
Yeah, so before we did Wiki Weekends, actually, while we were doing Wiki Weekends, we did a channel called Fact Fiend. And Fact Fiend was quite popular, but it came to its natural end, and then I brought it back because I'm Dr. Frankenstein. I looked at that stone and went, there's still some blood in that. I brought it back. But one of the things we did before we shut it down is end the Fact Fiend Patreon, or so we thought. Because Patreon, despite being the industry standard, seemingly all the things that are industry standards for content creators suck, and they're only the industry standard because there's no competition. So in regards to Patreon, we shut it down in June, I think. I didn't take any money from it for that last 6 months, but you, Brad, and Nisha did, and that was like residual pay for all your work on the channel, so you could set up and work on new projects. Yes.
Yeah, and like to clarify, like we didn't shut down at the time, but we did give people a notification like, hey, we're pausing the Patreon payments, and we're leaving this page up just for like a little while to give people the ability to go back and check out previous posts and stuff, just get news of the channel and the Patreon ended and things like that. But yeah.
And we assume that when you press the button, pause payments, that pauses payments. And then in August, we just got a message. And we were like checking the Patreon for Wiki Weekends and like, wait, why is the Fact Fiend one still active? It's like, oh, fuck, it's taking money again. Like, okay, well, at the very least, we can go in and just refund that money, right? And apparently, no. What have you got to do instead, Lucas?
So I can refund the money, which I've just sent out a message to everyone that was on that Patreon of like, hey, we're going to get that sorted for you. Like, even if it's as little as $1, we're going to refund it. But I have to manually like go through on the like relationship manager thing and click the account, check to see whether they paid in August, and then click refund payment from August.
And you need to do that about 600 to 700 times.
Something around 600 times, yeah.
Because Patreon does not have the option to just mass refund everybody who gave you money.
Apparently not.
Seemingly, they never expected that someone out there would want to give someone their money back.
And I messaged like, hey, if I just unpublish this page, like, will it just naturally refund people from that previous month? Like, no.
No. The money will just stay in escrow, i.e. Patreon's accounts, until you either withdraw it. After a certain point, it just becomes lost, and then Patreon takes it. Which means that surprised me the most. That means that technically you could just take all the money and run, and there's nothing anyone could do about it.
I could have done if I had mentioned it to you, yeah. And the weirdest thing is, like, no one's messaged us about it. Like,
that's what got us.
I felt really bad because, like, oh shit, all this money's been taken out. But I guess for most people, it's probably like $1's been taken out, and they're just like, whatever.
But at the same time, we specifically
said there wouldn't be any more payments.
I was the person in charge of Fact Fiend. I said I want to shut it down because I don't want. I think 5 months of residual payments is more than fair for everyone to get. Like, what job gives you 5 months of residual pay?
Yeah,
not many, right? That's fair. Let's shut it down now. I didn't have access to it because I didn't want to touch any of the money. I didn't want any of my hands on other people's money. And just assume that when you told me, I paused it and went, that'll be it, right?
Yeah, so, like, we can all sit there and go, like, oh, no, poor Lucas, he's got to refund it. It's also my fault that I didn't, like, shut it down in time. So this is why I've, volunteered to be like, it's fine, I'll go and sit through and manually do it. It's my fault. I just should have shut it down earlier.
But just the idea, though, that you've got to sit there now and just refund literally $2,000 $1 at a time.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're too honest out with Lucas. Like, again, you could have taken that money because no one seemingly noticed that it went.
Yeah, and like
people only know it exists because we've told them about it, and we felt compelled to mention that it's a thing.
Yeah, so we'll make sure like I go through that hopefully it doesn't take too long to do each one. I can just get it sorted in the next day or so. But everyone's been notified, and just because we know there's a crossover of our fan base and people
That's why we
stuck with
mentioned
us.
it here, yes.
That's just we wanted to make sure people are aware and people take note. If you weren't on that Patreon, it's got nothing to do. You don't need to worry.
Yeah, it's just the thing of we know there is audience crossover here. So if you did happen to be subscribed to the Facting Patreon, well, thank you for that. You helped support the channel as it was going into its sunsetting phase, and helped Lucas, Brad, and Nisha, move on to bigger, better, and different things. Because Wiki Weekends will be bigger, Lucas. I guarantee it. But if you did happen, go check your payments and see if you did have that payment taken out, and if you don't get a refund, let either myself, because it ultimately, the book stops with me, or Lucas. No, because Lucas is the only one who has access to that account anymore.
Yeah. I'll just let myself be in charge of that problem, and hopefully it's all nice and easy to sort out.
What would be the most annoying thing is if you go through all of it and there's like $2 left, and it's like, whose is this $2?
Well, what will be more annoying is because of Patreon, if Patreon take the cut that they take, and we're left in negative money due to giving a refund to everyone. Because I'm hoping they only take the cut when you press
after we take it.
Give us the payout, because it's still just left in an account on the Patreon page at the moment.
Yeah, we've yet to touch it, and we don't want it. That's the thing. Neither myself nor Lucas wants to touch that money.
We have already had plenty of support from people, and I would feel bad taking any money off anyone even as little as $1 after we've said we wouldn't.
Yep.
And obviously,
we'll definitely take the money for Wiki Weekends.
I was going to say, technically, if anyone's on that Patreon and wants to move that membership, that $1 over to the Wiki Weekends one, we're providing content and trying to do our best by actually having an active page and doing stuff with the Wiki Weekends.
That'd be the thing, right? So, well, what's the difference between those? It's for me, it is different. I think we can move swiftly on now. I think we've done our intro, right? The week.
Give us a
you've got a like
give
video,
subscribe,
like it, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff.
All that.
It helps.
We'll read out super chats, but yeah, let's move on. We've already been.
That's enough talk about money. Whether it's too much or not enough, it always causes arguments. As my dad likes to say.
Very good saying.
But Lucas, I believe it'll be you presenting the first topic for this week, as you are just stared at by the disembodied Mr. Blobby voice.
Yeah, I was I hope Karl remembers he was introing into me there. I just went quiet for a minute, fine, he remembered, it's okay. So Karl, I'll give a bit of a preamble to what I'm talking about today.
I don't know, no. So go on. Let's see if I can guess from your preamble.
So, with recent Marvel news, Karl, many people have been talking about a certain casting, and that character or characters and the actor themselves, and I don't specifically want to get deep into the weeds of that. I figured I don't know much about something that's very pivotal in the comic books to do with that character, and presumably knowing about that incident will help us going forward, understand what might be coming to you going forward.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is something to do with Doctor Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what specifically about Doctor Doom are we talking about?
Well, we are talking about the Battleworld, and more specifically, Battleworld Latverion, which is the version from the more recent Secret Wars, which is the 2015 or 16 Secret Wars, not the one from the 80s.
Even though they happen 4 years apart in Marvel canon.
Wait, really? Okay.
Right. Civil War 1 and Civil War 2 in Marvel canon happen 2 years apart.
Oh no, Secret Wars, not Civil War.
But I mean, it's one of those things where the comic universe is so condensed that all of these things happen so close to each other.
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Battleworld Latverion, which again is the quote-unquote world that happens to house the Secret Wars more modern story. And obviously there was the original Secret Wars back when Spider-Man got his first look at the symbiote suit and stuff.
Hmm.
and that was also taking place on Battleworld, but this is specifically about the Latvian version.
Here's the thing: is all Battleworld is such an 80s thing, right?
Hmm
Where are we going to Battleworld? So who called it that?
What's that? Well, it's a world where we battle. It's like, right.
Wouldn't it be great if you went there and it's just everyone's like really nice and chill?
It
I thought it
would
was
be
just
nice.
Battleworld. It's like we actually pronounce it Battle World.
And I believe that the reason why Battleworld and Secret Wars was reintroduced into Marvel in the comic books was basically because they were like, hey, we've got like the regular version of like the 616 universe, and then we have the Ultimates universe,
Which
which
sucks.
someone but had really good elements that they wanted to bring in, like Miles Morales.
And Nick Fury.
Oh, and was that the
Black
new
Nick Fury,
version,
yeah.
the Samuel Jackson Nick Fury, right? So there were
Everything
elements
else can
of the
go away.
Ultimate Comics where they were like, "Hey, this is really good," but we kind of just want to like nab all the good bits and bring it into 616 mainstream comic book variants, and like,
Like Spider-Man did, where it's like we want the symbiote, but we don't want Eddie Brock Venom.
yeah,
We want the symbiote. So they bring in Tom Hardy and just take a little bit of symbiote and send it back to his universe. Like, fuck off back to your universe, mate.
go back to like Venom and Carnage. We just want the excuse to pull the symbiote in.
Yep.
And then Venom's like, "Oh no, we're going again." Oh, it's like, yeah, yeah. You can just go back to your little Venom verse. Don't worry
Yep.
about you. We just needed the symbiote. But yeah, I just figured like probably every fucking YouTube channel that covers anything comic book related has already talked about like Doctor Doom and all the casting news a million times over.
Oh yeah, like, those thumbnails, the angry thumbnail,
Mm-hmm.
or the Macaulay Culkin.
And
I can't believe it.
that's why we haven't covered it even like last week or whatever, because I just figured every fucker's already covered it. But maybe this would be a decent subject to cover, because this would give us a bit more like context about what happens during Secret Wars.
Yes, it's also as well that thing of people say, "Oh, what do you think about this casting choice?" Like, what more do you want me to say than it's interesting? We've literally seen a guy stand on stage, and that's it.
It's
What
either,
more can you say about that?
yeah, your reaction can either be I'm excited or I'm not excited. That's all we
And
can really
somehow,
say.
other content creators somehow figured out how to spin that into a 2.5 hour long podcast for 3 straight days.
But we do have a quote about Battleworld, Karl.
Who's it from?
It's from Molecule Man, and
Oh,
Molecule
Molecule.
Man does hold like a massive amount of Molecule Man is plot device for the Secret War to occur.
Yeah, he's one of those characters we always get suggested to talk about. And here's a spoiler: if the character is like just nigh omnipotent in every single regard, they're not going to be talked about because they're not interesting. Because there's no interesting notes about how their powers work. It's just they can do anything, which isn't fun.
They basically have almost no rules, as far as I'm aware.
No.
But yes, from Molecule Man, we couldn't stop the Beyonders from destroying everything, but we could draw them out, destroy them, steal their power, and store it someplace safe, where it could be used to preserve some of what had been lost. So that's
Okay,
kind of
like Kandahar. I think it's Kandahar, like the bottle cities in Superman,
oh,
where
okay.
Brainiac just makes a little. I think Kandahar might be a real place. That might be like a mission from Call of Duty. But with like there's
It's
bottle
either a Brainiac city or Call
I
of
think
Duty.
it's like something with a K, and I want to say Kandahar is like a real thing. So we just say I'll find out bottle.
Is this something from DC or a real place that I've like learnt from Call of Duty? YouTube told me the video starts at 7. I swore I could have set it at the right time for 8 p.m.
Kandor, the bottle city.
Oh, okay.
Kandahar is like a place in the Middle East that America keeps bombing. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it did say it was scheduled for like 8 p.m. UK time. We were roughly on time for within a couple of minutes. So I don't know why YouTube's doing that, but
Either way. But man, maybe like, is that what it is then? It's just their version of like the bottle cities. Are we going to capture a small part of this reality and keep it in an enclosed space?
So we will get into it, but essentially, yeah, it is a patchwork world made from remnants of destroyed realities following the multiverse's collapse from the incursions. So
Like you said, it's just what the parts we want to steal. Like Miles Morales, you can come in.
Mm-hmm. Like, it's
Hopefully
just...
his mum made it.
There was a big multiverse collapse situation due to stuff that presumably it'll go through in a minute. But just, yeah, basically, there were remnants left of many different worlds, and we made a battle world by putting them all together. And when I say we made a battle world, it was created by Doctor Doom using the power of the Beyonders, which he had stole via the Molecule Man.
Yeah. And that's where you get the great comic panel, I think, of like Doctor Doom, where he has like the power of a god. And then they tell him, well, you've got the power of a god, it means you're above like petty human squabbles. It's like, fuck that.
Yeah, so
Like,
this was inspired by me hearing that there is a variant called like God Emperor Doom.
Yeah, let's just Doom.
And then I was like, okay, that sounds cool. Do a little bit of research, and then like immediately find a panel where he like rips Thanos' spine out and go,
yep.
Okay, this seems pretty cool. And then eventually ended up down the rabbit hole of going to Battleworld.
Yeah, it's where like Doom, where he says, I had the power of a god in my hands and I found it beneath me.
And then
because being a god means you've got to follow the rules of a universe. And Doctor Doom's like, well, I'm fucking Doctor Doom. Suck my dick.
It's very funny because like Thanos is like, well, I had the power of a god because I had the Infinity Gauntlet, and like, you know, I used it to go beyond like mortal means and act like a god myself. You are just like using it for your own needs. And he's like, okay, do you have the Infinity Gauntlet on you now? He's like, well, no, but I don't need it to defeat you. And he just rips his spine out, and he's like, right, yeah, sure. Sure, Thanos.
Doctor Doom. Like, Doctor Doom is such a great character. Like, every single like panel of every comic he's ever been in is solid fucking gold.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one of like, do not do that hot on. It's like, full Doom does as he pleases. Doot. Oh, when he like walks through a fucking wall in his own. He owns a castle that he doesn't have doors in it because he walks through the wall. And Spider-Man asks him, "Why don't you use doors?" It's like, what, like a peasant? So what he does is he has no doors in his castle, so he can explode through them, and then one of his robots rebuilds the wall.
Just instantly, yeah.
Yeah, just so that like other people can't follow into the next room.
Just so that he can always make an entrance, Karl. He can just always Kool-Aid man his way through, like, yeah.
There was like one comic where he cures the Thing, which is like the one thing in like comic history that Mr. Fantastic can't figure out how to do.
I was going to say,
cures the Thing and then turns it back into the Thing.
Doesn't he just do it to prove to Reed Richards, like, I could do it?
I could do it at any time. All you need to do, if you want me to do it again, is admit that you can't do it. And Reed won't admit that he can't do it, so he doesn't help.
Like, I'm just going to piss you off and prove to you that your ego means more to you than your best friend does.
Yep. So do you like Superman got Lex Luthor to do that once?
Oh, really?
Like Lex Luthor's like just there, like, oh, there's this lady here dying of like a disease. Help her. And he's like, well, why would I do that? And Superman's like, you can't, can you? And he's like, I know you're goading me, but I'm going to prove that I can. And he cures cancer in like 5 seconds. Just to prove that he can.
I know that you've got me with this. And I know
other people in the room are watching.
And he's like, I know that you're playing me, but I'm going to be played. And just does it anyway. It's like, damn it. Oh.
Doom's so great.
Doom is fantastic. And then, yeah, Doctor Doom did rule Battleworld for 8 years as a God Emperor Doom, until it was destroyed when Molecule Man gave the power of the Beyonders to Reed Richards instead.
Why would you give it to him?
So, of course, that was how it ended, of just like, oh yeah, we just gave the power to Reed Richards and he like stopped Doom. Okay.
Why would you ever give anything to Reed Richards? He's a nightmare.
Yes.
Like, he's like one of the worst characters in the comics. Like, Doom's bad, but at least Doom has like a goal. People don't know Doom's motivation is that he gets like a vision of the future from Black Panther's God, who shows him a vision of the future of the Earth that is a perfect utopia with him at the head. And then they show him another vision where he's not in charge and the world is on fire.
Basically, the only way to like stop the world from being destroyed was for Doom to be in charge, right?
Yes. Obviously, there's other ways it could happen, but he sees the best path is for him to be in total control.
Mhm.
Reed Richards just does things just to see what happens.
He's a scientist, Karl.
That's what
Or
he'll tinker with,
experiment.
like world-ending technology just to see what happens. And if he
Or,
fucks it up, he's like, "Oh, my bad."
sometimes he just builds the fantastic car.
Oh, fantastic car. Like, why do you need that when one of your members can fly?
2 of your members can fly? Question
Oh, yeah,
mark?
Invisible Woman. And then, like, the thing can just run real fast.
Like, so I don't know whether certain iterations of Sue Storm can fly.
And she's invisible, right? You just tell people that she's there.
Or what you do, Karl, is you get or I was trying to remember, is it Jessica Alba, and they just put her in her underwear constantly. It's like,
Yeah. They knew
yeah,
what they were doing.
just like, oh no, we have to just get another scene where you like accidentally lose your powers while you're naked again. It's like, this is like the third time you've made me do this. It's like, well, it's just part of everyone learning their origin story, right?
To be fair, you get to see a lot of like Chris Evans half naked as well. You get the super baller scene of he burns all his clothes off while snowboarding, lands in the snow, and turns the snow into a hot tub, and the girl just strips off and jumps in. It's like that. That's such a Johnny Storm move, right?
Mm-hmm. That is. And just we have some background information here, Karl.
Tell me about Battleworld.
We've got a quote from Sheriff Strange, which is, I presume, some kind of variant of Doctor Strange, where he's just like,
Imagine Doctor Strange with a gun.
he's got
It's one of those
worse.
things where it's like, how do you make this character scarier? Give him a gun.
But he's got way worse than a gun.
Yeah, but it's more the fact he's also got a gun. He might shoot you. Sheriff Strange.
Says,
His little
unfortunately,
badge. It's just an eye of Agamotto.
oh god, in a star shape instead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one could stop the perfect annihilation plan that the Beyonders had put into motion, but we could stop them. So we did. We killed them and took the power for ourselves.
That's pretty much what Molecule Man just said.
Yeah.
Just differently. Like,
Mhm.
get new material, Strange.
And yeah, basically, like some of the background here is just like the Beyonders are from the outside of the multiverse, created the
No.
Molecule Men as a bomb to destroy the multiverse, and of course they want to destroy the multiverse if they're just allowed to live outside of it, right?
Yeah. Also, as well, again, the 80s. What do we call these creatures beyond our understanding? Beyonders.
So Doctor Doom, known to some as Raboom Alal, began killing these Molecule Men to mitigate the damage, but setting off the Molecule Men early had dire consequences, which incursion. And as a result of the contractions in the multiverse caused by the Molecule Man's deaths, the incursions were caused by the contractions in the
And just Doctor Doom's like, fucking hell, do I have to do everything myself?
Yeah, basically, once Doom realized that killing the Molecule Man was not going to save the multiverse, he then started collecting them to build them as a bomb to be used against the Beyonders.
Yeah, he's just going to put people into the bomb, just cramming them in there.
He's just like, if you're going to bomb out every single universe, I'm just going to start grabbing all these bombs and cramming them together to make one big bomb for you.
So I'm pretty sure, like, because Doctor Doom, like, everyone always thinks it's because he's got like the perfect blend of science and technology, and he's got his like bulletproof suit, and he's like super smart. His actual superpower that no one in the Marvel universe can really match, besides oddly enough the Thing, is his willpower.
Mm-hmm.
He has like the strongest force of will of any character in Marvel because he's 100% committed to his ideals, to the point where like Purple Man doesn't work on him.
Oh yes, of course, yeah.
He just ignores him. She's like, "Fuck you, I'm Doctor Doom."
You don't tell me what to do.
I think it was a point where he's like, he holds together the fabric of reality as an anchor point because he knows he's Doctor Doom.
Oh.
So they try and rip apart reality, but he's like, you can't rip apart reality because I'm Doctor Doom. It's like, well, he's Doctor Doom.
That's true. Holy shit. And that's one of the fun things is that when talking about stuff like this, it gives better context for like comic book Doom that people, even myself are not that aware of. Like, I'm aware of a couple of highlights here and there, but I, compared to the amount of comics out there, I've read a proportionally very small amount, and most of people's knowledge of Doom is from 3 bad Fantastic Four movies.
There's 3 bad Fantastic Four movies, memes, random out of context panels, and then the Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom games.
Which
And
again,
I still
only
think
a small
those games are
percentage
pretty
of
good.
people have played, right?
Well, those games are a pretty good reflection of his personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact he just flies into the ring on a throne and just stands up and is like, "You are beneath me, and it shows."
Foot dive, foot
Oh, man.
dive.
If Robert Downey Jr. don't do a fucking foot dive, I'm gonna go mad.
And just to clarify, he's literally just like he's a character who can fly in that game, and one of his moves is to just dive down in a like diagonal manner with his feet first, and he just goes foot dive.
And it's one of the strongest moves in the game because his hitbox is ridiculous, and it does it instantly. Just fucking just craters your asshole on the floor.
I mean, the best part about it though is still just that he says foot dive every time you do it.
Especially as well when you cancel it into another foot dive. Foot dive. It's like, yeah, you go Doctor Doom. Or it's when he triangle jumps towards you. Like the man moves quicker triangle jumping than he does running. It's great.
God, yeah. And like that's the thing is, I don't even think we've had. I didn't watch Fan 4 Stick, but I've watched a lot of like clips of Fan 4 Stick
Out
through,
of course, out of
you know,
context clip,
YouTube
yeah.
videos of like how bad was the Fan 4 Stick movie.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, and just like I don't think we've had a depiction where he can straight up just fly, or that he's got like, you know, the balls to just bring in a throne.
No, it's one of those things where it'd be too theatrical
Mm-hmm.
for those kind of movies. And
Yeah.
thankfully, the MCU has established that they're happy to do silly villains.
Yes.
They're happy to do silly characters. I'm not saying Doctor Doom's silly. We're saying he's more theatrical aspects, such as like, you know, he's fucking wearing a big metal suit and a big green pimp cape.
And one thing I do
Flying
like
around
about
around.
I like Doctor Doom's design. I do also just like the God Emperor Doom
With the white.
with just the full white, and I was like, oh, that's clean.
It's Colgate Doom, man.
Yeah, Colgate Doom.
So ready.
But yeah, like the idea that just he can't be this ruler of Latveria that comes in on a throne with a big cape and shit.
So why not?
Like, oh, he's got to be a CEO of a tech firm.
He's going to be a CEO, right?
Like
they're never going to have the balls to just say, and now the delegate from Latveria, and just he flies through the fucking ceiling on his throne. So like 50,000 Doom bots.
They need to do that though.
Oh, but it'd be so good.
That's the Doom that we need to see in the MCU.
It's like, do you know, like when like the Black Panther is going into like the UN and giving a speech, and he should go in the fucking Black Panther suit.
Mm-hmm.
Just go in the Black Panther suit, do the Wakanda Forever salute, say peace out, motherfuckers, and taking Kendrick with me.
Because that's the thing. Like, they had the balls to sit there and let Thanos sit on a giant floating throne.
He should have stayed on that while he was fighting.
He should have done. That's what Doom would do.
He would. Well, he wouldn't even stand up. He'd make his Doombot do it for you.
And that's one of the scary parts, right? It's just you could have Doombots everywhere, and they need to have Doombots.
They need to have 100 million Doombots.
And it needs to be way more impressive than Age of Ultron, where they all just died in one punch.
Yeah, the Doombot needs to be as strong as he is. Like, the Hulk needs to get his ass beat by a Doombot, and then Doctor Doom walks in and crushes it under his foot.
Yeah, because that is kind of the point, is that you're not meant to be able to tell what is and isn't a Doombot. Like, you might think that you're fighting Doom, but it could just be a Doombot.
Yeah. I also like the idea as well that Doctor Doom single-handedly turns, like, Latveria into, like... People, like, try to emigrate to Latveria.
Mm-hmm.
Because under Doctor Doom's rule, there is no crime, there's no disease, there's no war, there's no poverty. They have universal healthcare and education. They, in fact, have world-class or beyond world-class facilities in every single regard, because Doctor Doom sells his outdated technologies to the rest of the world and keeps the best stuff for his people.
Well, two of the like best ran countries or, you know, civilizations inside of Marvel Comics are led by villains of just Doctor Doom running Latveria and then Magneto as well. Just like,
yeah, Genosha or like, you know, Asteroid M.
Mm-hmm. And it's just like, yeah, he also just creates a safe civilization for mutants to come and emigrate to, and like it's a seemingly good place to live.
Because it's a really good argument of like, do you know, like we have like Keir Starmer's on the news and says like, you know, the downtrodden,
mm-hmm.
and those are like in minority groups, like, you know, I will fight for you. You know, he just means that metaphorically. Mm-hmm. Magneto will fly in and just fucking magnet blast a racist. Doctor Doom will personally see to it that his citizens get like healthcare.
And
Like, there's
then we'll
episodes where, like,
also go and create a separate nation for all of those people to live under his protection.
there's comics where like Latvarians are like abroad and get ill, and Doctor Doom personally sends out like fucking Doombots to fly him back to Latveria.
And
To get,
that
like,
is
world class health threat.
that is one difference. Like you say give up your freedom in chat, right? And like maybe that's like more Latvarian, whereas Genosha is genuinely just like, hey, this is a free place for mutants to come and live.
Yeah, I see Genosha as similar to in like Metal Gear Solid because they know, like the Soldier Nation, where we all want to, like, we're all individual. Every individual unanimously agrees that one person should lead. And I imagine, like with Doctor Doom, if he did run an election, he'd probably win because he'd just say, if I'm not in charge, you don't have cancer becomes back. Do you like not having cancer?
I mean,
Like,
that's the kind of shitty villain move that Doom would pull, right? Is like, I could undo all of the good that I have done if you don't vote for me.
He wouldn't even undo it. He'd just say, I'm just going to stop helping.
Yeah. Whereas, maybe...
That's the problem with Doctor Doom, because he's almost always right.
Maybe a more altruistic character would be, I'll continue to help regardless, but Doom also does want the power that comes along with it.
We'll just think like his alternative is Reed Richards, and America's still got all those problems. Reed Richards could have fixed them.
Yeah. Oh, yes, it does say that, joined by Doctor Strange, Doom lured the Beyonders out and unleashed the Molecule Men bomb, just the Men bomb, in one final effort to save what was left of the multiverse. It destroyed the Beyonders and channeled their power into the last Molecule Man, sorry, who gave that power to Doom. And I did have a brief read through of the wiki. I don't remember exactly where it says, but there was a chance for Stephen Strange to take the power, but he decided to not take it for himself and left it for Doom.
Doctor Strange should have, like, the Doctor Strange I know would have like hoovered that power up second one. All the guy cares about is power.
Just Benedict Cumberbatch being like, yeah, man, I'll take some of that.
He loves it. That's the thing about Doctor Strange is similar to Reed Richards in that way of, like, he's just easily corrupted by knowledge and power.
And you would think that maybe Doctor Strange would go like, hey, we could split this power 50-50 or figure out something like that. Is he just like, apparently just, no, Doom can have it. Seems like it's not the best idea, Strange.
But here's the thing, Doctor Doom's always right. He's always right, and he gives up the power willingly.
I don't know if this Doctor Doom is always in the right.
It depends.
When you called God Emperor Doom, I'm not sure.
It's not his fault that like everyone just decides that he should be in charge.
No,
he
decided he should be in charge.
It really doesn't help that he's literally ruling with an iron fist. It's not good optics.
No, it's not.
That was that great Injustice moment where, like, Plastic Man is giving Superman shit of like, you're acting like a dictator. He's like, no, I'm not. It's like you literally sat on a throne.
It's like, that's the thing is, it says here that Doctor Doom with that power was able to make a brand new reality from the remnants of all these incursion points between collapsing worlds. That new reality was Battleworld. And maybe when he turns around and goes, hey man, I've saved what I can, and I'm the ruler, and it's called Battleworld, you might go, oh, this was a mistake. Oh, no. Oh.
Why did you call it, like, Freedom World?
Yeah, was
better branding, right?
Peace Planet.
Yeah, you don't want if you've got fighting going on there. It's just the branding.
Yeah.
It's like, you mentioned Magneto. It's like, oh, Magneto, what are you going to call your group of, like, just aggrieved mutants? Oh, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. What? That's really bad branding, mate. You can't have that on a
not
t-shirt.
Just the Brotherhood of Mutants, no?
No, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Why'd you call it the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants? Even if it's supposed to be, like, sarcastic, people don't know that when they read it out loud.
But it does say, Karl, that initially Battleworld was a chaotic place, locked in eternal night and in a constant state of war between the survivors of the salvaged realities. Doom then managed to bring order to the world, ordering the remnants of separate realities into domains under his command as the God Emperor of Battleworld. And it's like, I'm not sure that it's much better that he just essentially locked each reality to their own prison and went, I'll murder you all.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to my plans. But at least I guess he stopped just the initial, just ongoing war forever.
It's that rough argument, isn't it, of, like, people died when I don't step in.
Yeah, some domains consisted of the remains of multiple realities and were unified due to warfare or mutual agreement. And each domain was ruled by a baron or baroness appointed with Doom's blessing.
There's also that thing as well of like Doom is keenly aware that when he positions himself as this figure of like despotic authority, people will naturally unify against him. But if there is not that figure there to unify and rally against, similar to like what's it now? Watchmen. Well, like Ozymandias is like, I'm going to pin the blame on Dr. Manhattan because if humanity as a whole has a singular all-powerful enemy that will require all of their resources to combat, we're not going to have petty wars anymore.
Yeah.
Similar to that, like Doctor Doom is keenly aware of that.
And yeah, it does say that like the borders were all like, very clearly defined. Everyone was ruled over by a baron or a baroness. An unauthorized travel between domains was a crime and would result in the intervention by the Thor Corps, Battleworld's police force under the direct command of Doom. And
that's rough, right? The Thor Corps. Oh, not one Thor, like 40 Thors.
That's the thing, right? It's like, if we could get an actual version of Secret Wars that was this epic, it would be incredible. Of like, oh hey, we've got an entire world where like different, regions are ruled over by like Doom's barons and baronesses. We've got like the Thor Corps police going on. We've got Sheriff Stephen Strange.
Do you know why it won't work? It's because MCU fans would never accept them recasting a role. So we wouldn't be able to have like a collection of different Thors because they'd all be the same character.
No, but like the Thor Corps wouldn't necessarily need to be all like.
I guess you could get different actors in to play the Thors, yeah. But the thing that like comic MCU fans love with the cameos, if you got Chris Hemsworth, that'd be fine. I guess you have to get a bunch of other people in to play the random other Thors.
Because you could probably get just, oh hey, even if you go, oh, a Jane Foster from a different reality comes back as Mighty Thor, like we'll do that version justice this time. And you've got a Chris Hemsworth Thor and a Frog Thor, and the rest of them, no one's really going to care that much about, I don't think.
That's fair, yeah. You get Frog Thor in there, you get like Beta Ray Bill.
Because look at like the Loki variant, right? No one kicked up a fuss about that.
Oh man, Crocodile Loki.
And just Crocodile Thor comes in.
It's so good. I love Crocodile Loki.
I really like the idea that we could get just, oh well, yeah, Crocodile Loki was banished, but Crocodile Thor still knocking about, or like Alligator Thor, right?
Technically, it's Alligator Loki, so we'll call that. I know alligators.
I literally corrected that as you were saying it, yeah. But yeah, like Alligator Thor coming in, just like, yeah, man, I'm the true Thor. But I just like the idea that, yeah, just guess what? As long as all the rules were followed, you've got no problem. But then, if there was any crimes committed, the disputes between domains were resolved in the court of Castle Doom before God Emperor Doom himself, with Sheriff Stephen Strange acting as prosecutor and judge. And just imagine like a courtroom scene where you've got like Thor, Sheriff Strange as judge and prosecutor, like Doctor Doom residing over the whole thing in a throne. Like, oh, it could be so cool.
Yeah. It's rough if you're the one who's accused, right? You know you're not winning. Right? You know you're not winning.
But even
this is a kangaroo court.
If you're found guilty, you pay restitution with either gold or territory. It's not like Doom just murders you.
He could, though.
He could. As it shows Thanos. I really read through this going like, oh no, they're not going to do any of this, are they? It's not going to be this cool sounding.
It's going to be a big CGI battle.
Yeah, it sounds so interesting.
You will have your 40 CGI Spider-Man and you will like it, Lucas.
You go through it and there's 41 different domains on the map. They've all got like different, as I say, they've all got different like either one multiverse or multiple multiverses reside within each one. And then all of them are ruled over with by barons and baronesses, and it sounds like such a cool world. Like one of them's just Spider Island, governed by Spider-Man.
Thing is, though, surely that'd get really annoying.
Why?
Like Spider-Man would be really annoying. He's
Oh,
annoying
what?
enough in
Just
small
if all the
doses.
Spider-Men are in one island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'd hate though is like, why'd you put all the smart people who are like basically just goody goody two shoes onto one island and say live under a dictatorship? That's gonna end poorly. It'd be like putting all the Captain Americas on an island, right? So
Yeah.
that island is just going to event. He's going to rebel every day.
And I will say, there's clearly been a lot of not so great decisions being made over the time during the Battleworld 8 years that it lasted. Yeah, it's like Baron for Greenland #1, Baron unknown, formerly Red King, Baron #2 unknown, formerly Maestro, Baron #3 unknown, formerly Apocalypse. There's a lot of formalies going on here. I don't know if
It
you
sounds
appointed
like
the
a lot
right
of people got their
people.
ass kicked.
Yeah, and yeah, there's just like most of the barons are either just unknown or like known, but they were formerly from someone else. It's like this was only within like an 8-year stretch of his ruling, which means there's been a lot of bad choices picked for the barons and baronesses initially.
It's one of those things where like it's all Doombots, right? It's just Doombots who run each one now.
Well, a lot of them. One of them, Warzone Baroness, is She-Hulk, but it was formerly President Tony Stark.
Yeah, fuck President Tony Stark.
And yeah, just all the blue with which is General Steve Rogers territory, but the leader is Spider-Man, formerly General Steve Rogers.
They just like give it to Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man's not going to be in charge. Who'd listen to him?
It's Steve Rogers territory, and Spider-Man just comes in and is like, no. We can't trust you anymore, Steve.
We don't need you on point anymore, Cap.
Oh god, just go and retire. It's okay, I've got this. And yeah,
And go do the most retirements, right?
Mm-hmm. Like you just have a world full of Caps, and there's like one Cap left that's not retired, and the rest of them are all just like, oh.
No, but then he's got like 400 shields. Just covers himself in shields and just looks like just a nightmare. And do you like Pillow Man from Community?
Oh god, yeah.
Was that with Captain America shields?
What do you do? And there's just a few notes to end on here with some trivia, Karl.
Give you some trivia, lay it on me.
Because obviously we could go through all like the different provinces and stuff, but just generally the concept of Battleworld is like what I wanted to talk about today, and just give people a bit of a like update on what might be covered Marvel ways, where it's not just like, hey, guess who Doctor Doom is? Okay, I'm sure plenty of other people have talked about that already.
Ad infinitum, yes.
But yeah, it says there were no Reed Richards on Battleworld, except for the 616 and the 1610 variants, who had survived independently from Doom via Life Raft.
I like the idea that Doom's like everyone gets to survive, but there's conveniently no Reed Richards.
It's like they had to survive independently because Doom was like, you know what? I think all the Reeds can just die. So I don't need to save any of them.
Very conveniently, no Reed Richards made it through. It's like, oh no, all the Reed Richards unfortunately died, and Reed Richards is like, no, I made it. It's like,
fuck's sake! It's like, oh, it was beyond my power. I think they'd all died by the time that I acquired the power from the Beyonders, and just like the 616 version shows up, like, no.
It's all right. I'm
bullshit.
all right. Don't want to save like 50 more. It's like, for fuck's sake.
It's such a petty little move from Doom, though, isn't it? Of like, I'll make sure I take the Beyonder's power and just save as much as is left of the entire like multiverse as I can, and just form this one planet. All the Reeds must have died already. I'm really sorry, Reed.
I just love the fact that he hates him so much.
Yeah. And obviously it does say this is the second Battleworld, the first being the Beyonders original Battleworld. It's like I think it's like 86 or something, Secret Wars, where that is from. Doctor Strange had the opportunity to seize the Beyonders' powers, but rejected it, as talked about earlier. Had he not, he could have claimed it and become the world's Battleworld's god instead of Doom, but that's just not Strange's want at the moment, apparently. But yeah,
I want to shoot people instead.
he just
I've
wants
been
to become
really
a
hankering to
sheriff.
shoot a few people. I want to become a cop.
That's the worst part, right? Is like, oh man, both just Stephen Strange and all of the Thors just become cops. No.
It's like I'm a big fan of Avatar, and one of the biggest disappointments about Avatar is that Toph becomes a cop.
Oh,
The
really?
anti-authoritarian character who refused to listen to someone becomes a fucking cop and arrests people.
Great. Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know much about it, but I was not aware that they just became a cop. It does not seem like the type of character that
It's
would
like Harry
become
Potter
one.
as well, isn't it? It's like his whole thing is like, fighting and rebelling against authority. What does he become? A fucking cop.
Yeah.
And he becomes that dickhead jock from high school who becomes a cop and marries his high school sweetheart.
Well, kind of high school sweetheart, right?
So yeah, he dates someone like way, way younger than he is.
No, I mean, I think she is only like a year younger, right? But like,
Yeah.
it's more just the fact that suddenly towards the end of like 7 years at school or whatever it is, I'm just gonna start dating my best friend's little sister that I've
Yeah,
known since she was like 10 years old.
there's nothing he can do about it.
Anyway, we're not talking about Harry Potter, Carl. We stray away from Harry Potter on this podcast.
We do, yes. Tell me about more characters who become cops. Just disappoint us all.
Well, it's just one last bit of trivia before we move on to housekeeping and Carl's wiki, where the title God Emperor actually comes from Frank Herbert's Dune series, which is supported by the fact that Secret Wars #2 is titled Doom Messiah, derived from Dune Messiah.
Oh man, like just God Emperor is such a baller title, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like 40k. It was like the God Emperor 40. It's like it's such a badass title.
And again, just as we mentioned it, the Colgate Doom is such a good look.
It is, yeah.
The all white, and it's just, it doesn't say much more else when just like, oh well, I'm God Emperor Doom, and then Thanos just stands up to you like, oh well, I don't actually believe that title. I think you're a bit of a punk, and he just obliterates him in 1 second.
Yeah, as anyone else, like feel free to step up at any time. I'll be right here. He just posts his address. Like he just streams live the entire. He's just when he's on the throne, and anyone who walks, he just beats their ass.
But yeah, maybe Doom would fit in, or at least this version of Doom would probably just fit in perfectly with the like 40k universe. And just, I can imagine Doctor Doom rocking up to Warhammer and being like, "Yo, this looks cool."
You'd be like, look at all these idiots. I mean, idea how inefficient this is. There's so many Reed Richards who could do this job.
Did you know that the guy on your throne's been dead for like God knows how long? I'm gonna just take over.
He's not dead.
No, he's not. I know.
Not dead. They try their hardest to make sure he's still alive.
Yeah, but it's like some
basically
just a skeleton on a throne, right?
Yeah, and they just basically just melts down 1,000 people an hour and just pour the juice into his brain.
You know what? I reckon Doctor Doom would be like, "Hey, if you let me get on that throne, I'll stop melting 1,000 of you every single day."
Nah, no, that's heresy, mate.
Yeah, but Doctor Doom doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't mind if Doctor Doom just came in and was like, "I'm your god now." Yeah, but yeah, I just after like reading through this wiki, I was like, you know what? I do need to go ahead and just read through Secret Wars because it sounds dope, and I know that it is basically a way of them just being like, hey, things got a little bit out of hand with all of the different variations of comics we've got, especially like things getting messy with the Ultimate Universe. But we've got some stuff that we want to bring in and just make part of the main canon.
There's a bunch of it we'd like to leave behind, like the version of Hulk in that universe is just awful.
Mm-hmm.
Just like he eats people.
Oh, yeah. And I know a lot of people have like a lot of problems with like most Ultimate runs. But yeah, we also got one of the greatest modern Marvel characters out of it in Miles Morales. And like,
yeah, and he just never talks about that universe, just fucks right off.
I believe there is some kind of thing at the end of Secret Wars. Again, I need to read it, so I can't confirm, but it is something to do with the fact that like all of the things that were saved were merged into 616, and then all the characters, like, memory is changed as if they were all always part of it or something.
Retcons.
Yeah, just try and
Retcons.
get rid of all the messiness all in Secret Wars, Karl.
Let's not have anything interesting lingering or any questions that could be answered in a future. And no, just everyone forgot.
But it's one of those of, yeah, okay, there might be some interesting questions left over. At the same time, it would leave a bunch of just messiness
It's
and
just we
plot
want
holes
Miles
sitting
Morales in the
around.
universe. Yeah, we want him in the universe. We want this version of Miles Morales. We don't want to invent him again and tell his story again. We want this version. Write a story, bullshit an explanation. Fuck it, it's done.
Yeah, and obviously the origin story for Miles being that Peter dies. They didn't want to kill Peter,
of course,
so that they can bring in a new Miles. They want to have Peter and Miles together, and then Gwenum as well. I love the fact that like they did a Ghost Spider, aka Spider-Gwen, who we will talk about at some point. You know, not enough of you voted for her to get a discussion on the Patreon, so you're gonna have to wait. But
you will.
They immediately just like tripled down and was like, yeah, but there's also Gwenum, there's also Gwenpool. Like, they knew.
They realized those redesigns were just too top tier.
I did also forget, by the way, just some aliases for Battleworld itself, which is
they just, oh god, no, fuck this.
Well, none of them are Peace Planet, I'll tell you that one.
Call it Peace Planet.
The aliases are Doom's World, Doom World, Earth, okay, Fight Planet, God's Kingdom, the Land of All Metal Face, and Latverian. I don't mind the Land of All Metal Face. That just definitely sounds like what Spider Island calls it.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man, you're so good at coming up with quips on the fly. You couldn't think of a better name than Spider Island.
Oh dear. Or just like the Land of All Metal Face. But yeah, that is Battleworld / Latverian from Marvel Comics.
Sounds dope. Can't wait to never see it.
I can't wait to see a really mild version of it in the MCU. I say that because like obviously Civil War like was so pared down with the amount of characters it
was a fist fight in a fucking parking lot.
Yeah, and like I do imagine that it's got to be that level because it's, you know, Marvel Comics can lean on being able to push out many comics over weeks to introduce loads of characters and have like 50 different comic lines run at the same time so people can learn as much or as little as they want to about all these characters, whereas we're getting a couple of films each year to establish like all of these characters. There's not going to be hundreds of multiverses to pull from and thousands of characters to be able to use. Yeah, so I do hope that what we get is something that can be equivalent to it, but knowing how small Civil War had to be compared to the Civil War in comics, it's got to be pared down in some way, right?
Yeah. Like Civil War in the comics as well, they didn't want to deal with that. It's the Killmonger problem. We talked about it before people don't know the Killmonger problem is when it normally happens in superhero movies, and it's where they introduce a villain who has a very, very good point. And rather than directly address that point, because it would involve asking uncomfortable questions, they just have the villain do something like kill a dog. Like Killmonger. It was like, hey, it fucking sucks that future Africa, Wakanda, is not helping black people. Black folks kind of had it rough for like 300 years. What the hell were you doing? And there are very obvious parallels between that and the current, race relations in America of replace Wakanda with America. This is the richest country on earth. Why do some of your citizens still get treated like shit? What's the deal? We don't want to have that conversation. Just have him shoot a lady with a shotgun. So now he's unequivocally a villain, and thereby his point doesn't need to be argued. He just needs to be stopped.
Yeah, and we kind of, when we were going through Mass Effect 3 over on Monday on my Twitch, we kind of had a similar discussion where just like, oh, okay, we're killing all these Cerberus soldiers, like, just indiscriminately. Oh, yeah, well, they're the bad guys. It's like, okay, but we were the good guys in Mass Effect 2, and we were working for Cerberus under their money. Oh yeah, but that's Shepard. That's different. They were working just like pretending to work for Cerberus and using their facilities and all the infrastructure they have to do their own job because they're a Spectre.
Yeah.
They weren't listening to Cerberus. Like, okay, but surely some other people can still not believe Cerberus and just want a paycheck.
Yeah.
Oh no, they've all got like Reaper parts and are probably
They
like,
all 100% fell in line. There's no moral ambiguity about like
well,
mowing them down.
but then on that mission when we're talking about it, it's like, oh, who do you want to save? Oh, there's a bunch of people in this facility that have defected from Cerberus and need help. Like, oh, so they were working for Cerberus and they're the good guys we need to save. But to do that, we've got to murder just faceless Cerberus soldiers that are definitely all evil.
It's like, I think in the MCU, the worst one is the Flag Smashers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Flag Smashers, they have a very good point of
very good point, yeah.
when the snap happened, countries across the world suddenly lost half of their workforce. So immigration and movement between borders was not only made easier, it was encouraged, and we were offered a king's ransom for going to help these other countries. And now their citizens are back, they're kicking us the fuck out. And again, you can draw a direct parallel to real life where countries will build nations on top of the backs of laborers, immigrants, and then will not give them rights. And that's an interesting conversation to have. And the parallels that you could draw to real life will be interesting, but they don't want to have that conversation. So the Flag Smashers blow up buildings and are terrorists.
And even to the point where Sam Wilson like goes and talks to them and is like, yeah, maybe we are wrong. Like, holy crap. And the end of the TV show is him saying, look, you may have painted these people as bad people, but you need to change and figure out new shit because this is a problem. And the only reason that like the leader of the Flag Smashers is like the evil person is just randomly just blow up a bunch of innocent people.
Yeah, so they don't have to interact. They don't, because they've got a very good point, and that point has direct parallels to real life, and it asks questions that I would like to see asked in something as big as an MCU product, but they don't want to deal with they don't either have faith in their writers to write a story that's nuanced enough, or they just don't want the backlash of raising an issue as thorny as immigration and treating immigrants with respect and encouraging immigration. The fact that,
or they want to be able to bring it up to an extent and have a minor part of that discussion, but not go full hog to the point where they would not encourage people to come back to see the next project, right?
Yeah. And it's the same thing like when Sam Wilson at the end, his entire argument boils down to be better. So that's great, but you're Captain America, fucking do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And what he does is he stops the people trying to fight for change. And it's like, it'll get sorted. It's like, it's not been sorted for 300 years.
Don't worry, I'll tell the government to figure it out.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's the A-Train bit. Do you know, it's like the protest for like the fake advert they did, where he walks in and goes, "This is important."
The Kylie Jenner Pepsi advert.
Yeah, but like it's literally that, isn't it? Of just like, this is important. I care about this product and or service. It's like, no, you.
Well, I guess we can do a quick bit of housekeeping before we move.
We can indeed. You mentioned your stream on Frere. So
indeed.
where you stream the game Mass Effect, that's crazy. Where would people watch that?
Well, if you want to watch Karl and I play through Mass Effect 3, we are probably about halfway through, maybe just over halfway through that playthrough at the moment. And you can find us play that on my Twitch, which is twitch.tv/legendofcanto. We do that Mondays, 10 p.m. UK time. Then I play through Zelda games on Tuesdays, which might be Tuesdays at around 10 p.m. And then I do Thunder Badge Thursdays, which is Pokemon-related games on Thursdays. Again, is roughly around daytime.
And the thing is, the Mass Effect streams will take so long because we have to agonize over every decision.
And we also just go off the rails and stop. Like, we'll go into like random conversations, and Shepard's just stood there giving people the death eye for like 10 minutes as we don't talk.
It's like we could never play a Quantic Dreams game on stream because it'd just be us having a 15-minute conversation about the morality of using the bathroom. Like, should we leave the seat up or the seat down? It's like, well, it's our house, so we should leave it up. But it's like, but we have to leave it down for those who might come afterwards. It's like, fuck those who come after this is my house.
We definitely wouldn't be able to play one of the later Telltale games where they have the timer on the decisions.
Fuck that. No, never put a timer on. The only time that should happen is if you don't do it, someone gets shot or a zombie comes in, and they should do it no matter what Telltale game it is. I don't care if it's Telltale Batman.
Not just The Walking Dead. Just
The Walking Dead zombies come in.
Any different game that you're playing, just like, oh no, like Tales of the Borderland. Oh no, the Walking Dead zombies are here. The Guardians of the Galaxy would be okay though.
No.
Groot would deal with it.
Well, the zombie wouldn't work on him, right? He's a tree.
Yeah, because what does like being undead do to the tree of life?
Yeah. You'd be like that scene here, it's like where Dracula bites Superman and explodes. Because Superman's powered by yellow sunlight. So he bites a guy who's powered by the sun and just explodes. It's like, Dracula, you fucking idiot.
Of all people to try
it's
and
the fact that Dracula explodes that makes it funny, right? It's not like he gets into it, it's just Dracula detonates.
Yeah.
And Superman's like, oh wow, I guess that's the thing.
Well, yeah, if you want to put the power of the sun directly into your veins, Dracula, that doesn't sound like a good plan for you.
But that's the thing you can do to that Asterion in Baldur's Gate. It was like this laser weapon that's like the full concentrated force of a sun. And you can like push Astarion into the way of it to escape, and he gets really mad. And it's like,
he's a vampire as well, right?
He's a vampire, and he's like, I'm immune to the sun thanks to like shenanigans that have occurred, but you still hit me full force with the force of a sun in the face. And he's so salty about it.
Yeah,
get over it. That was 5 minutes ago.
I was thinking more like when you do it in like JRPGs like Final Fantasy, where you just cast life on zombies.
Oh, it's so funny.
Like any undead character, cast revive on them. It's like, wait, no. How dare you revive me? I'm
undead.
The
cool combination of casting zombie and then throwing a phoenix down at them.
But Karl, what about yourself? Have you got anything to plug?
The only thing I have to plug is the same thing I plug every week. Fact Fiend, because now Fact Fiend is back. And then the stream I do once per week, Metal Gear Solid Rising Revengeance. But there might be a new game on the streams because I recently downloaded Metal Gear Solid 3 and I'm currently trying to do a perfect run so I unlock all the items. And I'm currently at the part where, Joe, you're on like the back of the motorbike trying to hit the fucking frogs as you blast past on a motorcycle at 1,000 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I had to reset like 6 fucking times. And I messed up my no death run.
Oh no!
I was walking up and there's like, do you know the bit where you're about to go into the waterfall?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to run and dive past him. Because I know the cutscene as soon as I go through that waterfall. And the guy landed in the water and died. And it saved my game automatically. Like, so I'm going to have to play through the entire game again and not kill that guy.
Oh god, that really reminds me of like the time on ODST where I was trying to like finish one mission on like online 4-player co-op on Legendary for an achievement. I can't remember the exact thing, but we needed to do this mission.
Yeah.
And you have to escort one of the elephants, which is the big like vehicle transporter vehicles. And
I remember this story, yeah.
Yeah, we were right near the end of the mission. Because it was on Legendary mode and we were all randoms online, we just took ages to get to that point. We'd spent like maybe an hour just playing it safe, getting through slowly, getting right to the end. And the elephant got blown up, which is okay. Like, we'd lose some of the revives available to us, but it would send us back to the last checkpoint. But the animation of it blowing up is like 30 seconds long. And as it had already lost all its health and started the animation of blowing up, it just drove through an autosave checkpoint. And it's like, and we all just quit. Gave up. I never got that achievement.
Yep. And it's rough. And what I'm hoping to do is that way I'll have a perfect, not a perfect, but I'll have a save that has everything unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And what I hope to do is I want to do a playthrough. Maybe I'll do it concurrently with Metal Gear Rising, or if there's a day like I'm busy all the days this week, but maybe like next week on like a Tuesday or something before you go live with something. I'll stream for a couple hours and go through, and I'll give people at home a choice. Should we do a perfect, like not perfect, go through with all the items, or start from the beginning with nothing and see what we can unlock? I'd like to have that choice of having a save that has all the items. So if people want like, oh, let's run through with stealth and just punch everyone in the dick or something.
Yeah, just
Ultimately,
on
like
the infinite camo or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because yeah, there is I'm getting that right, isn't there's a camo that gives you like permanent camo. It's like 80% or something at the old.
The stealth camo, which gives you 100% at all times.
Oh, okay.
There is the easy gun, which is easy mode, which you get by playing on very easy or by eating all the food.
Oh, okay.
So you can use it in subsequent playthroughs on harder modes, except for European Extreme, where it locks you out of it. And there is the infinite face paint, not the infinite bandana, infinite face paint.
Which one is the face paint? That just
you paint the infinite symbol on your face, and it gives you infinite ammo.
So which one's the bandana from?
The bandana is from number 2.
Oh, okay.
So it's like the extra long bandana as well.
Yeah, I was getting them conflated in my head then, because I thought like, well, there's a bandana that gives you infinite ammo, right?
I love as well they acknowledge it in Metal Gear Solid 2, and no one questions it.
Oh,
Like
really?
in Metal Gear Solid 2, yeah, when Raiden asks Snake, like, do you need any ammo? And he just points at his bandana and says, infinite ammo. And it's like, no one questions it.
Oh, man, I didn't know
This is
that.
like that's one of the theories as well about why that game's all in Raiden's head, why it's all still VR. Because that's not real life. It's like Snake straight up telling you, I've got a cheat activated.
I mean, like, but also just Metal Gear is so dumb that you could just see it as being a thing that can canonically happen inside Metal Gear, right?
Well, they have that, it's the Patriot gun, where you unlock it after. That's the other thing you unlock. The Patriot has infinite ammo on it. And like the guy you have who you call up about your guns, when you ask him, he's like, okay, this gun, it does loads of damage. Why? It fires bullets sideways. It's like, that's not how guns work. It's like, well, that's how this gun works. Okay. Also, it has infinite ammo. Well, that doesn't make sense. Oh, that's because the magazine goes in an infinity symbol. Oh, yeah, that would make it work. It's like, why does not every gun do that then, if that's how it works? Right? That's actually the canon.
It's like the bullets are still being fired out of the barrel.
Well, because they go in infinity symbol, that works. Like, so why does every gun not have that then? Also, why does firing bullets sideways make them do more damage?
If anything, it should make them do way less because they're not going as fast, not as efficient going through the air. Yeah, but man, I love the fact that they're like, well, fuck you. Our logic wins.
Yep.
But this is a slightly different version of Earth, where this logic just makes sense. Shut up.
Yep. So at some point, maybe you'll see like a Metal Gear Solid run. Don't expect a perfect run, but expect a fun one.
Metal Gear Solid 3 specifically.
3, yes. That's the one where there's the most freedom you have in that game. There's so much stuff you can do.
There's the most freedom.
Yeah. My perfect run has been really difficult because it's like I'll just like spot a guy on the floor and it's like I'm so tempted to walk over and just drop a scorpion on him.
I'm just really upset that you missed that.
What's that?
It was the most freedom.
Oh, I missed that. You know what? That flew over my head.
It did.
Just like all the helicopters that's like were fucking shooting my asshole out earlier.
Just like the fear. Just flying over you.
The thing best is the way I beat the fear. Because what I always do the same thing. I let the fear shoot me to put all like the arrows in my head, and the fear got one right through my eye. So in all the cutscenes, Snake just got a fucking thing stuck out of his eye.
Oh god. That happens later in the game, Karl. You can't give him an eye patch just yet.
It's great. It's so fucking funny.
I can never remember. Has he got an eye patch in that?
He gets his eye shot out. Yeah, it fucking sucks.
I can never remember because in my head it's always like there's the scene where he gets his eye shot out, and then there's also the MGS1 torture scene. Is it where you have to like mash the A button
to resist,
or mash the A button on the Twin Snakes version, mash the X button? Presumably. Yeah. I remember like me and my friend passing the GameCube controller between one another because we were playing like the Twin Snakes version on GameCube on hardest difficulty, and to try and stay alive on that torture scene on the hardest difficulty is so hard.
I do wonder how Americans feel like the hardest version of Metal Gear Solid is called European Extreme.
It's the same with when the Japanese games make themselves like easier or harder, right? Like,
They're easier, yeah.
well, it depends what game franchise you're talking
Depends which
about.
game. Mostly, they generally make them easier.
Because like I think the Fire Emblem difficulties, like normal difficulty for Japan, is hard mode for us. Yeah, they're more hardcore than we are. We can't handle their hard modes. I think that's all we've got to plug and stuff.
All the plugging we need to do.
Other than just like reminding people, like if you're watching live, just likes, give us the super chats. We'll read them out if you do. Oh, we know what you've brought this week because it's right on that scary ass thumbnail.
Yeah, so I thought I'd bring it along, and I want everyone at home to give me big props for having the restraint to not do this on a video. So I'm not going to put clips in. Because otherwise, there would have been so many clips of today's topic that I brought for us, and that is Mr. Blobby. And before I get onto the wiki, Lucas, what do you know about the distended, pustule-covered penis that is Mr. Blobby?
Well, other than Blobby, Blobby, Blobby.
All you need to know.
I know that he's fucking terrifying, is what I know.
He
And
is.
for some reason, he's intended for children, which is not okay.
Well, that's the thing. He's technically not, but we can get to that in a moment. And
Oh, okay.
all I know about Mr. Blobby is that he was supposed to be a joke, but
Mm.
then people didn't get the joke, and then unironically became a thing.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so we'll get to that. So Mr. Blobby is a character originally featured on the British Saturday night variety show Noel's House Party, broadcast on BBC One. Created by Charlie Adams, a writer for the show, Mr. Blobby is a bulbous pink figure covered in yellow spots with a permanent toothy grin and green jiggly eyes. He communicates by saying one word, which is...
Blobby, Blobby, Blobby.
Yes, he can only communicate by saying his own name. He's basically a Pokemon. He's Mr. Mime.
Oh, God.
An electronically altered voice, expressing his moods solely through tone of voice and repetition. A lot of fucking repetition. The joke gets so old so fast, which was supposed to be the joke.
Right, okay.
But then we'll get to that. It says, Mr. Blobby has also topped the UK singles charts with 1993's Christmas release, Mr. Blobby, which was the Christmas #1 for 1993. Mr. Blobby has a #1 hit. I think he's technically he's him and Bob the Builder. Bob Builder's got two.
Mm-hmm. Bob the Builder definitely does have one. At least Bob the Builder doesn't just live in my nightmares.
Yeah.
Bob the Builder's fine.
He don't live in your nightmares. He lives like, just slightly out of your peripheral.
He just lives down the road, waiting to fix it.
Yeah. But then we mentioned it, origins. So Mr. Blobby first appeared in 1992 in the Gotcha segment of the second series of Noel's House Party, in which celebrities were caught out in a candid camera style prank. So think of like a YouTube prank show, but with less just pushing people over and being racist.
Right. In the 80s in Britain?
In the 1990s.
In the 90s.
I'm thinking about, prank YouTubers where it's like, at the very least, and as well, the candid camera stuff happened to celebrities.
Yeah, fair.
So I think of like what Ant and Dec do now, like Saturday Night Takeaway.
Like, that's one example where every time I've seen the Saturday Night Takeaway pranks, they seem actually like quite wholesome and funny. They seem to strike that nice balance on Ant and Dec.
Yeah, it's that thing of like, because the pranks are being played on celebrities, it's that thing of like, we're going to take this celebrity down a peg or two. And I do remember like one episode, for example, where it's like, oh, we brought in a guy who can he can do a handbrake turn into the smallest gap. He's going to break a world record tonight. And to prove it, we've put two cars out, and they put Ant and Dec's car as the ones he's going to do it in between. Like, wait, no.
And we do have a guest appearance on the podcast this week, Karl.
Who's that?
It would be the Blobby himself.
Where is it?
Video watchers can see.
On screen.
Maybe just try and refresh it just so you can see.
I'll try and refresh it, okay. So I don't want to see I hate him. He freaks me out. He's like, I'm not that. Okay, so while I'm waiting for that to load back up, oh god, no, what's this? Oh no, I accidentally shut the page while I was bringing it back up. Okay, so origins. Mr. Blobby was presented to the celebrities as if he were a real and established children's television character in order to record a segment about the guest's professions.
Right.
So the idea was, we're going to pitch Mr. Blobby as, hey, it's a children's show. Because like the celebrities don't know every children's show. Like if they just get told, we're the BBC, this is a children's show, would you like to come on and do a segment for children for the BBC? Because that's the beauty of that. Because it's for kids. The celebrities aren't really going to say no because no one wants that bad publicity. And because it's for the BBC, it lends that air of authenticity.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's like, the renowned like publishing or broadcasting service. It's like, well, it's for kids and it's for the BBC, so of course it's legit. In reality, the setup was completely fictitious, and the character of Mr. Blobby, portrayed by Barry Killerby in a costume created by artist Joshua Snow, focused on acting childishly and unprofessionally, largely to irritate the celebrities taking part. And basically, he was given carte blanche to do whatever the fuck he wanted, as long as he was annoying.
Odd.
And do you know like that thing of like, you give someone like a Deadpool costume, and there's like a dickhead second one? It's that.
Like,
do you know when you go to, like, if you go to an event and there's a guy in a Deadpool onesie or something like that, and he walks around being a dickhead because the suit gives him that. He thinks that the suit gives him that level of power because no one's going to hit a guy in a like dressed like Deadpool. And it's like, I fucking will.
I know, it's as well, specifically with it being Deadpool, of like, oh no, but Deadpool's like a jokey asshole, right? It's like I'm just pretending to be like Deadpool would be, of just being a bit silly. It's like, no, stop trying to harass people, you bellends.
Yeah, and that's the thing of like, Killerby got real fucking comfortable with how much leeway he was given to piss off celebrities.
Right.
After the conclusion of the second series, the character was made a regular feature of the program. Because here's the thing: eventually, the segments became so popular they couldn't trick celebrities to do it anymore. Because celebrities were like, "Well, I know Mr. Blobby. He's a dickhead in a costume who's going to fucking like just slap me. I'm not going to fall for it." But the character was popular enough where it became a recurring segment where it's like, we're going to watch Mr. Blobby paint his house and just watch this dipshit bumble around try and paint his house in the costume.
That's the one thing I always got with shows. Like, I understand when it's like a movie that hadn't come out. Like a good example is Borat, right?
Yes.
Is like, I understand because the movie hadn't come out while they were doing all those interviews. There was never a chance for people to understand that like that's a joke character. But
and cotton on, yeah.
When it's like someone like Eric Andre or Ali G, where they were like, Eric Andre's been prolific for quite a while at this point.
And still kept getting away with it, right?
And
I don't know how he did.
There's still people who go on that show and still don't understand that he's going to take the piss out of you.
It was like, what, Between Two Ferns, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like Zach Galifianakis got away with that for, like, what, 5 years? And
Quite
just
a good while,
seemingly no one ever got the memo of, like, he's taking the piss out of you.
And a couple of times, there's clearly, with Eric Andre, we bring up the Lance Reddick one a lot of the time, but
it's the best one.
It's
right?
the best one, but I've seen like
I want my slave role. Just coming out in the slave anklets with the LaVar visor.
We're not being like,
We're not laughing at that. We're laughing at how absurd the scenario is.
Yeah,
this is what actually is. This is actual dark humor.
That's the thing, is I was going to say, we're not exaggerating for effect either. That's actually what he did.
Yeah, he comes out in the slave anklets and just starts going, "Give me my slave roll." And it's like, no, Lance, what are you doing?
And if you don't believe us, just Google like Lance Reddick, Eric Andre. We've brought up the clip a few times, but like, it is genuinely as like bad as it sounds. And Eric Andre is like,
he's so
what
committed.
the fuck?
Because he manages to get Eric Andre.
And like, there are clearly sometimes with like Between Two Ferns where people were just playing along.
The Barack Obama one's great, yeah. Where it's like, so you didn't want to run for a third term? It's like, nah, that'd be kind of silly. Right? It'd be like making a third Hangover movie.
Oh, God.
And then there's like some celebrities who just have like, they've got a good enough sense of humor about themselves. Like Ali G did a legendary interview with Victoria and David Beckham when they were like the apex of their success, and they were like the it couple in the UK. Where you just ask the question like, oh, you just had your son. When they grow up, do you think they're going to want to be a footballer like their dad or a singer like Beyonce? And just Victoria Beckham's like, but she's
Isn't
laughing
that like, was that not the time where he was like, like asked like, does she take it up the bum or something like that? And they were like,
And David
the
Beckham's like,
fuck?
I'm not. He's like, I'm going to give no. And it was for like children in need, I think.
Yeah. But it's like, man, the fact that they had the balls to like say that on set.
The thing that gets me though is like years later, we've got to give mention to that legendary like David Beckham interview where it's like, no, that Victoria Beckham interview, she tries to play off like she was working class, and David Beckham just like his head comes in and goes, what car did your dad drive? It's like, I'm not talking about that, Dave. It's like, what car did your dad drive? It's like a Rolls Royce, bye. And he just
She keeps trying to be, but he worked really hard for it. We like that was his one thing. What car was it? But no, like apart from that, what car was it, Victoria?
It's that classic rich person thing. Oh, they think working class means my dad had a job.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not what working class is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so funny that his head just pops out of the door just ever so slightly. You know that wasn't prompted.
Yeah.
You know, he just heard it and went, hang on. Because David Beckham legit did grow up working class. He's like, his mum was a hairdresser. And his dad was like a builder or something like that.
And he just pops his head in like, I ain't taking this shit. No.
What car did he drive?
And then there was just like that other bit of that where just I saw the clip of him just being like grilling individual mushrooms at a time on his little like grill table. Being like, yeah, man, sometimes I just spend like 8 hours to myself just grilling mushrooms in this room.
It's, I guess when you're that rich, have a hobby.
Sometimes he just apparently his hobby is just sometimes spend the entire day just grilling one mushroom at a time and chilling out.
It reminds me of like Rod Stewart, legendary rock star Rod Stewart loves playing with like model trains.
Mm.
And just like he got to the point where they asked him like, "Oh, you're legendary for like sleeping with groupies." Like, I don't do that anymore. It's like, why? It's like, well, when you've had as much sex as I have, it's kind of boring. That's what playing my trains. It's like he just had that much casual sex. He just wants to play with his trains. Like, what a legend!
At some point, it goes full circle of like, many people will say model trains will stop you having sex, but at some point you have so much sex that you just go back
You want to play
all the way back around to model trains are more interesting.
He's still got one of my favourite quotes about marriage because he's like famous being married like 8 times. But no, I think an interview was asking him as a piss take once, like, so Rod, do you think you have any marriage bells or any wedding bells on the horizon? He went, no, I think I'm done on marriage. I'm just going to find a woman I don't like and give her an house.
Just skip the whole marriage part.
I love as well that him and like Elton John have like this like friendly rivalry where like I think it was like Elton John. One of them had like a balloon going around advertising like their tour, so the other one had it shot down. And they'd like they'd personally vandalize each other's posters for like the Vegas runs and stuff.
And there's like the opposite of that, isn't there? Where like Eminem and Elton John just send each other like the most lavish gifts to each other.
Yeah, because people don't know Elton John helped Eminem get sober.
Oh, is that why? Right.
Elton John's got a lot because like, who's done more cocaine than Elton John?
But...
And there's that thing, right? It's like if you think you've done more cocaine than Elton John, no, you haven't. And also, Elton John got sober. If he can do it, you can. It's like with Jackass, right? Like Steve-O. Of like, if Steve-O can get sober, what fucking excuse have you got?
I still remember that one clip that I saw with like Steve-O talking about it. Like, yeah, man, on set there was just alcohol and coke everywhere. He's like, oh, like Coke or Pepsi? He's like, oh no, I mean cocaine. There was just coke everywhere. It's like, different vibes. Okay, got it.
There was a story told by Danny DeVito about that. Of like, he went to a house party once. I think it was at Arnold Schwarzenegger's house, and they'd written out everybody's name in cocaine on a table. And of course, Arnold Schwarzenegger just stood there in front of his name of like, mine's the biggest. Like celebrities, man, they just lived in a different world. And speaking of living in a different world, through Noel's house party, Mr Blobby was seen in short comedy sketches and had guest appearances on other TV programs, where largely it'd just be a TV program and he'd just turn up and fuck everything up. Like, and they'd have people as if they were in character, but then just imagine just Mr Blobby turns up. If everyone on the screen can see it, imagine you're watching Friends and that thing turns up.
And that's the thing with the added height of the costume and everything. Like, this thing is not small. This is a fully grown adult in a giant inflatable costume. This thing's like 6 foot tall.
Over that, yeah.
Over that, probably, yeah. Just
Keep in
running
mind as
at
well,
you,
like,
screaming, blobby, blobby, blobby!
and the guy was told specifically as well to be as obnoxious as possible.
Yeah.
Other appearances though. So Mr. Blobby then made regular appearances on the Saturday morning, circuit, appearing on Live and Kicking and the Saturday evening game show Generation Game with Jim Davidson. The character has appeared in cameos in Dead Ringers, Harry Hill's TV Burp, Dick and Dom in Da Bungalow, and Anton Deck's Saturday Night Takeaway. And have you ever seen that thing of like, we need to bring Dick and Dom back, get two D-tier celebrities, give them the most cocaine you've ever seen, and have them present a kids show for like 40 minutes?
I do love, though, that I can never remember which one it is, because it's like Ant and Dec. For the longest time with Ant and Dec, I never knew which one was which.
Yeah.
I do nowadays, but with Dick and Dom, I never knew which one was which. But one of them just turned up on my TikTok feed one day, giving advice on like how to do like a correct like cut on a piece of wood for your DIY project or something. And it's like he's just got a TikTok where he does house DIY renovations and stuff and gives people advice, and he's like just living that life. I was like, I did not expect like Dom from the bungalow to be giving me like house renovation tips.
If people like it can't have been that bad, just go look up any clip of Dick and Dom in the bungalow, and it's like they've done like an ounce of whiz each.
No, Karl, they were just really enthusiastic about presenting.
No
the
one's
kids'
that
show,
enthusiastic first thing in the morning, mate.
They just had a nice coffee before they come in.
They've had like 40 coffees. They had a coffee enema. Oh man! So we mentioned footballs. Can I mention the quote? I never miss an opportunity to say it. We mentioned a football. We mentioned getting up in the morning. My favourite football. There's two footballer tweets I love, and they're both from Wayne Rooney. One was when he was meant to message Rio Ferdinand, like his fellow player, but he just like sent him a tweet of like, "Do you still want picking up in the morning?" And the other one is when he just put, "Everyone says being a footballer is really easy, but they don't have to wake up every morning and eat 3 bowls of pasta and go training." And just the top response was just, "Wayne, for what you get paid, I'd wake up every morning and shove it up my ass." And just the thing of like, I think I would, wouldn't you?
I read the tweet and went, yeah, I would.
Shove
Yeah.
3 bowls of pasta up my ass every morning for £150,000 a week.
Yes, I would. If someone wanted to employ me to do that, by all means, if you've got that money, let's go.
Yep. He mentions here that Lucas, in December 1997, Mr. Blobby made a guest appearance on the children's game show Get Your Own Back. And if people don't know, Get Your Own Back was like it's one of those things. It's so 90s. Where it was a kids show where you go on it and you send a letter in with your grievance, and it's like, oh, my head teacher was mean and gave me extra homework, and they bring the head teacher in and you just gunge them.
Yeah, because
like, when gunge was a thing,
you'd compete in different tasks. So like, it'd be one kid versus another. They've both got whoever grieved them strapped to like a chair that goes up level by level, and whoever wins like enough tasks to get their person to the top first, they just drop a load of gunge on top of them, a load of slime.
And if anyone's wondering, like, is that a thing you do? It's based on an old tradition in the UK for when you do your local fete, which like mini fairs you'd have in like your local school or parish or community centre. And normally what would happen is some authority figure, a head teacher, sometimes the mayor, like sometimes like, just someone who's like, an authority figure within the community would put themselves in mock stocks, and you can throw like wet sponges at them or like, paper plates with like cream on them. And they would do stuff for charity. It's this long-standing British tradition of just taking down someone in a position of authority down just one peg via, just gentle mockery.
Again, like usually it was just throw a sponge at them. The money either goes to charity or helps like fundraise for the schools to like get,
or dunk them into like a water tank or something like that, right?
Well, we could never afford a big water tank, like generally in the UK. Most schools can't get a big water tank in. It's just normally throw a sponge at them.
Yeah.
But I was walking past a local school, and we were just walking the dogs, and they'd set up like the like fake stocks.
Yeah.
And we're clearly getting ready to hold one of those like little fairs. I was like, I'm so tempted to walk in and just give them a fiver to throw sponges at someone I don't know and just leave.
Honestly, put five, like, that's such a, like, Chad move, in it. Walks in, pays a fiver, nails every perfect headshot every time, leaves.
I'm like, oh, who's your kid? Oh, I don't have a kid here. Just leave. Just wanted to throw a sponge at someone.
It's the thing, like, there's not many things that make me proud to be British, but I am a big fan of, like, the fact that our figures of authority are encouraged to not take themselves too seriously. And that's why I will never stop finding it hilarious that the royal family took part in the Generation game, I think it was, where they all ran down a field covered in, like, inflatable obstacle courses. They got the royal family to take part in that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's that picture of, like, Princess Diana when she was at a school sports day, and they did a parents, like, oh, we're going to get the mums to, like, try and do the 100-meter dash. And Princess Diana throws her high heels at a guard and fucking sprints down at 100 mile an hour.
Oh, God. That's why she was the ladies' princess, Karl.
The people's princess.
The
yes.
people's princess, sorry, yeah.
Like, he lost and was subsequently gunged. However, he returned the following year as a judge and gunged the presenter in revenge. That's the thing. Mr. Blobby remembers that you wronged him and comes back and gets you.
Mr. Blobby is capable of revenge. That's when is it crows that they say, like, can remember people's faces and will get revenge on you?
Yeah, crows, members of the Corvid family.
Yeah, just like the idea that, like, yeah, crows will just remember your face and they will try and get you back if you wrong them.
It's funny as well, because that guy who figured that out, where he was just a dick to a bunch of crows in, like, a lab, and then let them out. He's like, I want to see if they remember me. And it turns out not only do they remember him, they told other crows about him. So he just said, I had to move, because the crows would just dive bomb him every time he walked outside his house.
Oh, God, that's great. Just they got the gang together.
Yeah, the literal, the gang. You mentioned here that Mr. Blobby has made guest appearances on shows well into the 2000s, including an appearance on the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. And that's the one where, like, Jack Whitehall's scared of him, right? And you have Jack Whitehall shitting himself because they bring in the actual Mr. Blobby in the costume, and he runs up and tries to get him.
I don't know why that's not more people's reaction.
I think he even says that, like, everyone's scared of Mr. Blobby, right? Because they bring up, it's a quiz show about the 90s, it's the episode. And he's like, well, everyone was scared of Mr. Blobby. It's like, well, I don't think he's all like you saying that. It's like, what do you mean? It's like, oh, he's here. And he runs out.
The last thing, like, this thing right here, everyone. This thing right here. You look at that and tell me that running at you, it would not be scary as shit.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Like, apologies, audio listeners, who can't see what Mr. Blobby looks like.
Look at the thumbnail.
You're currently missing out.
Look at the thumbnail.
You're currently missing out on both Coco, Daisy for Pet of the Week, and Mr. Blobby joining us.
Yep. He mentions here that in December 2021, he was supposed to star in the pantomime version of Peter Pan. The production, thankfully, ended prematurely due to COVID-19. So a rare positive thing. It managed to kill Mr. Blobby.
Have we seen public appearances of him since?
He's come back. January 2023, he appeared on This Morning again, this time during a segment as part of a discussion about the unused original Mr. Blobby costume that had been listed on eBay for £62,000.
60.
The buyer backed out of the sale.
Of course.
I did put in a cheeky bid of like 300 quid on that, so I was going to burn it. The fact thing was doing all right. I put a bid on it of like 300-400 quid. So I thought, if I can get that on the fact thing channel, I'm going to burn it.
Just do one video where we burn it down.
He also appeared as a guest appearance on Dancing on Ice, and then Britain's Got Talent, where he performed a magic act after failing to make Simon Cowell disappear.
Like, to me, it's not anywhere near as bad as some of the other people that we have allowed to be on British TV shows as staples in the past, but it's got to be up there as one of the most egregious things that we have allowed to continue on British television. Like, definitely a couple of people that I don't even want to mention because they're so bad.
It's that thing of, I am in two minds about it. One, he's obnoxious and annoying as a character. But I love the bafflement Americans get. Some of my ex was American, and I told her about Mr. Blobby. She's like, the fuck is that thing? I went, he had a #1 single in the UK. It's like, no, he didn't.
Someone mentioned in chat earlier that apparently he had 2 #1 hits.
2. Good for him. Get right, Lewis Capaldi.
Well, Lewis Capaldi's got to have more than 2 number ones, right?
Yeah, but for a while, Mr. Blobby had more.
That's true.
They're in the same club. And then we have critical reception. In March 1994, Elizabeth Colbert of the New York Times wrote, Mr. Blobby's rise to stardom has provoked anguished commentaries about just what exactly it is he stands for. Some commentators have called him a metaphor for a nation gone soft in the head. Others have seen him as proof of Britain's deep-seated attraction to trash. Trash TV. Do you know what? As someone who loves trash TV? Hell yeah. The Sun published a Sun article published the previous month reported that Mr. Blobby had reduced a young girl to tears after throwing her birthday cake to the floor during a show in Luton, causing the girl's father to mount the stage and assault Blobby. And that's the one we covered on Fact Fiend that everyone's like, and apparently all the kids were cheering and every adult, and they had like a thing. I think it was a nationwide poll in the Sun of like, do you agree with the man's actions? It was like 98% fuck yeah and beat up Blobby.
Yeah.
Because it's that thing, like, because it's all right when he's been obnoxious to celebrities.
But when it's a child and making them cry.
Knocking over their birthday cake.
Yeah. Like, I'm a person that openly admits, I do not like children. I do not like their presence. I do not find them endearing or cute. Most of the time, at least. I just find them mostly annoying. But I don't want to cause them, like, harm or distress. That's just taking it way too far.
It's literally the joke from fucking the Lonely Island bit, right? Of like, happy birthday to the...
Well, they haven't done anything wrong, or, if they did, it's normally a very minor thing.
It's, as well, it's like Neil Crumpton, who bought some of the merchandising rights to the character, said of this incident, if the press can knock him, they'll knock him whenever they can.
Good.
There was also a trio of failed Mr. Blobby theme parks.
Jesus.
He has also been criticised by other BBC personalities who just dislike the fact that their network was literally being taken over by this bulbous purple knobhead.
Yeah.
Michael Parkinson, the esteemed broadcaster, said that the character was far from amusing, while comedian Bob Mortimer called him a pink spotty rubber twat.
And that's all it seems to be, right? Is like a purposefully horrible design and a seemingly at very least a very annoying person being told to just be annoying from for years and years, and of course everybody's not going to like this thing.
Yep. It was deliberately and intentionally made to be as obnoxious and irritating as possible, but then people found it endearing again because we're watching celebrities it's like Eric Andre. I'm sure if Eric Andre, the persona he adopts on that show, if he just only did that and was pushed on every other show, we'd find him annoying. Same with Borat. There's a reason why Sacha Baron Cohen retires his characters after a certain point. Because people get sick of them. How long or how many years, Lucas, did we as a culture have to just listen to they're nice? How long did that last? That was 7 years, right? And that was one movie.
Yeah. And obviously there's a second movie now, but even then that was kind of carried by the supporting cast. And he probably knew that, right?
Yeah. We even says part of the film is about the fact that everyone knows who he is.
Yeah.
He's in character as Borat of why is everyone making fun of me? Who's Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yeah. Just realizing that A, it's hard to make that joke again when you've had such a hit movie. But B, it's not very funny to just do the same joke again.
And that's the thing, Mr. Blobby only had one joke. And the finally, there's just theme parks and portrayers. So theme parks, Mr. Blobby appeared at Crinkly Bottom themed attractions in pre-existing British theme parks. Crinkly Bottom. That's a British ass town name, right? Crinkly Bottom.
That's a fake name, right?
Yeah, it was the name of the theme park.
Right, okay.
It's a British name for a theme park, right? Crinkly Bottom.
Yeah.
It was in Somerset in July 1994 when it opened. Attractions include a walk through Blobby House named Dun Blobbin, a dark ride based around the children's television character, and an animated series Noddy. While the park attracted over 500,000 visitors in its first year, attendance figures dwindled shortly thereafter, and the park closed just 4 years later. A second park was opened in Morecambe, again in 1994. This led to large losses, a local scandal, toppling councillors, and finally an auditor's investigation, which reported 10 years later that the council's decision to proceed with the theme park was on the basis of information available to members and officers in March 1994. Imprudent and failed to give due regard to the interests of local taxpayers, because they used local taxpayer money to build a Mr. Blobby theme park. Can you imagine that? It's like, I want kidney transplant.
To be fair, though, that's probably the least egregious thing that's been done with our taxpayer money since like we've been born.
They didn't provide any of their local residents with reasonable estimates of likely footfall, the money that it would make. It lost over £2.5 million. There was also a third park based in Pleasurewood Hills, which failed to outlive the 1990s, but maintained successful revenue during and after the Crinkly Bottom branding. So it managed to survive, but ultimately it's just they got rid of it.
Right, so the theme park survived by getting rid of the Mr. Blobby banding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just making it into like just generally it's a children's theme park with children's characters. Like Noddy. And I've got no beef with Noddy.
Noddy's fine.
I've got no beef with Noddy. Or Bill and Ben. Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Man, you're alright.
Very, very inoffensive, yes.
Yep, and then we have here portrayers. There's been two. There's only been two men to don the pink costume. They are Barry Killerby. The original man in the blobby suit, Barry Killerby, is a classically trained Shakespearean actor from Bradford. I bet it feels like he wrote this Wikipedia page. When you here's a thing you kind of get an eye for. You can tell when the person who's like it's about or involved with it wrote it themselves.
Mm.
In 2008, he was working as a compere for an entertainment company. He commented that working as Mr. Blobby was harder than it looks, saying, "People think it's easy bouncing around saying Blobby, but they should try it. It was exhausting and demanding." His final appearance was on the aforementioned Big Fat Quiz of the Year of the 90s episode in December 2012. Following Killerby's retirement from the role, Paul Denson was asked if he would run the Mr. Blobby YouTube channel and occasionally wear the suit to make video content. Denson, a child of the 90s, thought it sounded like fun, and it was surreal putting on the suit for the first time. His first credited appearance as Mr. Blobby was on Alan Carr Chatty Man in December 2016 and has appeared as the character ever since. Which means that, as suspected, Mr. Blobby has absorbed another man. And one day, he'll need another soul. And on that day, I hope to God my door's locks works. Because he might come get me. Luke's he's on YouTube.
Yeah, that's what frightened me is like, oh man, he's made it all. Like, he acknowledges what the internet is. He knows what YouTube is.
He's on YouTube. You can go follow him right now.
Like, it shouldn't surprise me, but it did when you said that he's got a YouTube channel. I was like, oh no. But
the thing is, though, let's check. Do we have more views than he does?
The real question
if we've got that, I'll be happy.
No, he's got way more views.
Let's find out.
He had the push from the BBC for 20 years, Karl.
Yeah, but he's also annoying as fuck.
Well, I was going to say, who's more annoying, him or Alan
Lucas.
Carr?
Subscribers, Mr. Blobby, 18,000.
Oh, wow, we actually have more.
We've got
than
more
Mr.
subscribers
Blobby.
than Mr. Blobby. We good? We good? Okay. His last video, 1 month ago, 5,000 views.
You know what? We don't need
this
to collaborate.
No, wait. Can this podcast get more views than Mr. Blobby's last video?
Everybody make sure you share this podcast so that we can outbeat and outpace that video.
Okay, Lucas, what video on our channel's got the most views?
I think we've got like 30, 40k on a video.
Okay, so Mr. Blobby has got a 46,000 view video, but it's them photoshopping him into Ghostbusters.
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, currently 38,000 is our highest ranked video. But
what's like our average? Because Mr. Blobby's average is he's getting like... Okay, so the ones that have got more views are the ones from the 90s, which I guess people would look up. But which is not fair. You can't post shit from 10 years ago. So nothing new that he's done ever gets more than like 5,000 to 6,000 views, unless it's him doing that thing we talked about earlier. All the videos he's got of him that are more than like 5,000 to 6,000 views are them photoshopping Blobby into the back of a viral internet thing.
Right.
Like there's a pineapple pen thing where they've just like superimposed Mr. Blobby in the background.
So yeah, I'm gonna say, Karl, that means that we are taking Mr. Blobby off this podcast as a guest. We no longer feel the need to collaborate with someone who has less views than us. That's how YouTube works, right? It's like you're only allowed to collaborate with people who have more views than you, so you can suck that teat.
But you know what the worst bit is? If we invited him on the channel, he might come on. He might have actually made an appearance because we have got a decent amount of views.
Oh dear.
Does that scare you, Lucas?
That would terrify me.
Let's have a look at his Twitter account.
It's terrifying enough having
Lucas,
him like as the the joke image in the middle.
Lucas, Mr. Blobby, Twitter account does not exist. I'm winning there. I've got infinite more followers than he does.
We all
What
do.
about his Instagram? Okay, so Mr. Blobby on Instagram. He has 4,000 followers. So I'm better. I've got more views than Mr. Blobby. I've got more followers than Mr. Blobby on Instagram. Let's go. Let's go.
I agree. The video did get better when we took Mr. Blobby off.
Ooh, I've got his lifetime views. Do you think we should check out his lifetime views are 5.6 million? Can you check our lifetime views dead quick?
Oh, I think we're still like between 1 and 2 million. We've only been around as a channel for like a year or so, right?
Yeah, and like
they've been going since like what, 2012 or something. You said.
You know what though? Fact Fiend shits all over him, so he can suck on that.
Oh yeah, like a couple of the highest videos put together.
Do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna report his profile picture as offensive. Nah, I'm gonna do that. Do not abuse the report function.
Do not abuse it. I'm curious.
But Lucas, Mr. Blobby here.
We've only hit 1.769 million views at the moment. So like
the fact we can say only is a success onto our head.
1.7 million views across like a lot of videos, though, right?
Yeah. You know what we've got though? We've got consistency. 'Cause our videos have done consistently well and consistently better as time has gone on. Mr. Blobby's views are all over the fucking place.
We don't have to like Photoshop ourselves onto the Hawk 2 girl. Like,
yeah,
just we don't follow that trend.
Also, as well, like all of his videos. Oh my god, Lucas! It's just him walking on stage with bands and being a dick.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing. We also don't have to be assholes to other people for views.
True.
Apart from Mr. Blobby. I don't mind being an asshole to Mr. Blobby.
It's that thing because you know the guy in the costume's like, yeah, I'm gonna. This is a good idea. It's like, stop it.
I will say though,
not a good idea.
The one thing that the original person was correct about is like, that must be a hard job because there's a reason why, in theme parks, for example, like they only let the people in the big costumes be out in those costumes for like 20-30 minutes at a time.
Oh yeah, because it's like absolutely nightmarish, right?
Yeah.
Do you know they had to like sue to share on to get their own underwear? That's a thing. There's like a court case because like Disney wanted absolute uniformity amongst the characters. So like the people playing like I don't know, like one of the princesses. Can I wear my own bra? No, you've got to wear our bra because we don't. This is our special bra that doesn't have bra lines because our princesses can't have anything that's imperfect about their outfit. And then they had to stop doing that when a bunch of like the people just got fucking genital warts.
Yeah,
because they were all sharing like underwear.
Yeah, that's not a hygienic thing to do. That's all. Yeah, that's gross. Carl, have you got anything else for us about Mr. Blobby?
Only that we've got more followers than he has.
Well, I think that probably gives us a good reason to end there then.
It's scary though.
I
do want to check though. Who does he follow?
We've got to make sure everyone listening and watching, just whatever service you're using to listen to this podcast, make sure you just go out there and give this a little share so that we can make sure that this podcast gets more views than Mr. Blobby's recent video.
The thing is, as soon as his channel, if we get less subscribers than Mr. Blobby, he'll get us. We'll be absorbed into the Blobby singularity. So that's the thing of like, I'm a child of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I could end up being Mr. Blobby if I don't like keep on my toes.
And the thing is, obviously, as a fan, like I kept up with the whole like death battle thing, and they
Yes.
had a Kickstarter of like, here's some future goals. If we hit our Kickstarter goals, it's going to be this person versus this person. We never suggested Mr. Blobby versus the Absorbaloff.
That's too inside, right? It would be a good battle.
I don't actually think it should be on Death Battle. But
I think Mr. Blobby
I'd
would win
be
as well.
interested in seeing that happen.
Because Mr. Blobby has like reality warping powers. Because he can walk. He's aware of the fact that he's a fictional character and can walk into fictional universes and fuck shit up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's immune to damage.
But the Absorbaloff can just absorb you.
Yeah, and he's Peter Kay as well. Oh no. I don't know. I did see like that was Death Battle coming back, and it's like I can't believe they didn't own it.
It's scary, right? Of like
Yeah.
they were making that project for like 15 fucking years, and
That
only
could
because
be
like
that's a Wiki Weekend right there. I'd love to talk about the backstory to that because it is such a good lesson for other creators. I know so many people. I remember like when Fact Fiend first took off.
Mhm.
I think I tweeted about, hey, now Fact Fiend's took off. I've been reached out to by a bunch of like those multi-channel networks.
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes, I got Simon Whistler message me. Look, Karl, you probably did it as a joke. Do not go with a multi-channel network. Do not go with this one, especially. They own all of my content, like circa 2010,
Right.
because I signed with them and they stole all my shit. Like, monetize the fuck out of all my content, and now I'm not allowed to access it anymore.
Yeah.
Do not sign with them. And for like this like Death Battle, this like pillar, this cornerstone of YouTube was not owned by the people who did all the work.
Yeah, because for the longest time it was like they made it originally under like Screw Attack, which was then bought by like Rooster Teeth, and then Rooster Teeth was
Rooster Teeth
eventually
shit the
bought
bed.
by Warner Bros, and then Warner Bros decided to shut a shit ton of stuff down.
And then the Absorbaloff came in.
And then the Absorbaloff absorbed Death Battle, and they had to barter with the Absorbaloff to get the rights back.
Imagine that, of like how that must be so demoralizing of going in of like, okay, we're going to shut this channel down and just delete it. So okay, so can we buy it off you? No, it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do with a brand? Well, we're going to shut it down. So can we buy it then? No, it's ours.
And the fact that it wasn't just like a default option of like, hey, we're just going to burn this. Do you want to buy it? It's like they had to go to them and negotiate and ask and figure this all out. It's like,
okay, you need to be cheaper than a tax write-off. So how do we be cheaper than a tax write-off? It's a tax write-off is free.
Yeah, and I'd love to talk about Spirit Time one day, and I would want to talk about it, but I'd really like to reach out and like actually get one of them on the show. But I don't know if we're a big enough channel to like garner the attention of
who fucking runs
like
Death Battle?
Ben Singer and Chad James or Chad Jones.
Like, who is it? Like Chad Jones? Who's that? There he is, Chad James. There we go.
Chad James, it was, yeah.
Chad James. Where is his Twitter? Let's have a look. Have we got more followers than he has? He's probably got more followers.
No, he's got way more.
Let's find out. Not many. He's not by many.
Okay.
I'm on 30,000. He's on 50.
Okay.
I might be able to slide in.
Maybe.
I may be able to slide in, Lucas. Who's the other one? Maybe we can like sneak in with him up.
It's Ben B. Singer, right?
Ben Singer. Let's have a look. Maybe I can sneak in with him.
Using that clown.
He's got 30,000. He's only got like 1,000 more than me.
But then when we check the channel comparison, it's like they've got 8.9 million more subscribers than we do or something.
But you'd hope that on an individual level they understand that they are not the channel. The channel is bigger than they are.
Maybe, yeah. Like, we've both been fans of that channel for a long time, and maybe that could be like an episode we do want. We often talk about how like we would be open to talking and have guests on the show, but we'd need to find like the right people.
I would be genuinely interested to like go through the Death Battle wiki just so we could have someone live fact check it for us.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
Even just for a bonus episode to get the chance to talk to them about it.
So I'm not too fussed about like talking to celebrities or anything, but the idea of talking to someone, I'd be interested in that aspect, but I'm not sure how comfortable they'd be talking about the nitty gritty behind the scenes as someone who used to do it. I know it's a nightmare, and I know you'd be NDA'd at the balls.
Yes, exactly.
And it being the internet, it's rife with speculation, and it's better to just nip it in the bud and put a pin in it and just don't talk about it. but it would be genuinely fascinating to like just get the skinny on that. Because I can't imagine the frustration of like, but I made it.
It's like, and they made it for like, well, they're continuing to make it now, but made it
It's
for like
10 years.
15 years or something.
It's gone on longer than some sitcoms.
I think
Like,
it's
Warner
more like
Bros.
15 years that they've been doing it.
Yeah, it's probably more successful than some Warner Bros. Sitcoms.
Most of them. Yeah.
And it was entirely homegrown.
Mm-hmm. Just at this point, this is just Karl and I being like, we're having a meeting, but we're accidentally still recording the podcast.
Yeah. And I see that you follow them as well. There we go.
Of course I do.
I'll chase them down, Luke, because we can use some of that waning internet clout that I've got.
Let's do it.
And I can just be like, hey, put Armstrong on an episode.
It's like everyone listening tag Death Battle and be like, hey,
Don't tag Death Battle.
I'm joking. Don't do that.
Don't do that. I hate when people
then
do that.
That'll annoy them rather than convince them to come and talk to us.
I would rather that approach them as hopefully a peer than I would a fanboy.
It's always better to do it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave it there. I'm going to press we stop streaming.
Cheers.
But yeah, thank you everyone for listening. Everyone has a lovely day.
Cheers, everybody.